Okay, I am back, and sometimes it's good to just delete stuff and start over. So that's what I'm going to do with TRVL. I like to mix up the charts and start over. Remove drawings, empty. See that? Let me get rid of the volume as well, so it's not a distraction. All-time high 1.56. All-time lows basically here. What was it again? Doesn't really matter. I'll just do it into the slow here. Mm, 1951. 1951. Mm-hmm. Do a volume range pool. I want the current data, so I'm probably gonna zoom in a little bit just to get where we currently are at. Mark those off. Value area high. Value area low. I don't think we're going to go there, but it's good to mark it off to see if it moves. Point of control. Delete that now. Okay. Right. Go on a weekly time frame. We have a launch price, but on this we don't have a launch price, and that's why I'm quite interested in KuCoin as well, because maybe people won't necessarily care about it so much on KuCoin because it's not there. So let me just do the fib levels from top to bottom. Just get those lined up. Six, what was that thing? This one. Did that mark of the log time low, 5-1. Is it 5-1? Doesn't really matter, but it's just that big difference. We've passed the local 786 and we've just passed the higher time frame reverse of the 382. We came back above the golden pocket and we held it as support. That's why we're going up. There's nothing really to see there. We can do an extension. The extension puts us into the golden pocket of this move down. With the 618, 1.618 all the way up at there. I can see here the 1.414 and the top of the golden pocket pretty much line up. That's quite interesting, huh? Let me just hide those two for now, and then let me just do my levels, my candle levels, my liquidity levels. So yeah, see, it's interesting because in KuCoin the data is slightly different, but if you look at something like NEX, you'll see that on the there is a monthly level higher up at about $1 there, and then also on the yearly time frame. God, I've got rid of these images. On the yearly time frame, there's that yearly level as well, which I'm interested in, which you're not seeing on KuCoin because it launched slightly later. So I just want to just mark that, even though it's not on KuCoin, I just want to mark it. It's 28543. 28543. Let me go back to KuCoin. It's kind of there, huh? You see that? Basically there. So even though on KuCoin it went down and red, but you see there's a powerful yearly divide there. Let me mark that as yearly. we've just crossed this monthly level here. So we could backtest that. Huh? It's always possible to backtest. Never think that it's not possible on the monthly time frame to backtest that level. It's just something to bear in mind. But it's a wash level, so it's always possible to backtest. But I would expect it to hold as support for continuation. I would expect that. This here is a wash level too. You see how the candle, the price went up into it and it came down. So if there was liquidity there, it was taken. Doesn't mean it's not going to react a second time. Doesn't mean that at all. So I'll keep it. I'll keep it because there aren't any more, apart from if you look on MEX again, you can see that there's one right up there. I'll mark that here. I'll take it from MEX. It's basically $1. You see that? $1. So what I'll do on KuCoin, I'll also mark that as well. $1 is going to be up there. Can't see it, but it's there. $1 is quite an important psychological level as well, so it could play a role for people just selling at $1. I think a lot of people will sell at $1 too, just because if you've got a million TRVL, you would, wouldn't you? You'd sell some at $1. Doesn't mean it's going to hold a support. It's just it's more of a psychological level, but there is a monthly level there on all the other exchanges except KuCoin. So even though KuCoin might not react, the others might, which will definitely pull the price down. So there are your monthly levels. Let me go into the weekly levels. Now, these are all tapped, you see. You see how the wicks go up, they clear the liquidity, the price comes down. The wicks go up, clear the liquidity, the price goes down. This one is not tapped. This one is going to probably act as resistance. And will probably need to be flipped. You see that? So I think that's quite a strong level there. You see this monthly level has been tapped, but the weekly one hasn't. So of all of these, this weekly one and this monthly one is probably the strongest one here. And then obviously you have the yearly level as well, which probably play a role. You could break this down, go to the daily time frame. I will. And just have a look. See, that's been cleared. You've got one up there. And again, that will probably react because it hasn't been touched yet. That's at 33820 on KuCoin. These ones have been cleared. You can see how there's a level there. I'll mark it so you can see it here. But you can see what happened is the price went up into the level, took the liquidity and came right back down. So if there was liquidity there, it's been cleared all the way up to where the wick ended. On KuCoin, that's a red candle. So usually it's the green ones that have the orders. All of this has been cleared and then all the way up to that one there. So you've got another daily level there as well. Right. Possibly higher up you have on the other exchanges. Let me just quickly have a look just for the sake of consistency. Cleared down there a bit. So what number is that? 7547. I'll do that first. 754 because I won't remember it. 7547 and on KuCoin it's been cleared, but on MEX it hasn't. And then the higher one, which is this number, 14763. That's all basically, that's all at the all-time high, basically. Okay. We have lower levels here, but I'm not going to draw them. If you were suddenly to lose the monthly level, then they'll become more relevant. Like, for example, this one here, you see, that's a daily level there. But I'm not foreseeing us going back down to 8 cents, but you never know. So it's just something to bear in mind. On the weekly time frame, there is a weekly level here. You see how the price went down into the weekly level and then came up. So it's been cleared of liquidity already, but that's a definite level. Same place as the daily level. So if for some godforsaken reason we were to go back down, it wouldn't look great, but that's a level. I wouldn't like that, actually. I'm not even going to think about that for now. Anything can happen in crypto. So I'll leave it. The weekly level was being tapped, but there's a daily there as well, so I'll leave it. These are your levels to the upside. So let me just rename that to higher time frame levels and that. So that's your levels. So let me just see what that looks like. We've got the volume levels, we've got the higher time frame levels, we've got the fib extension, got the fib retracement, and kind of gives you an idea of where you're going to find resistance on the way up. You know, when you start seeing lots of these lines coincide, it gives you an idea where there's going to be strong resistance to the upside, and obviously on the downside there'll be strong support, but I'm not bothering with the downside for the time being. I'm not thinking down, I'm thinking up still. So you can see that the 50 fib coincides with this weekly level already, okay, at 17.5. So that's a point, that's a place of interest. Obviously you have this monthly level to cross to in the way, which is at the top of this wick, and higher up you can see at the somewhere around 618 there's a yearly level, and then higher up you've also got the top of the golden pocket, which coincides with the 1.414 extension. So these are kind of areas of interest, and then higher up it's all kind of scattered. So we have to see if there's any more kind of real confluence. So what I'm going to do now is a few things. I'm going to do so there's this tool called the anchored VWAP. It's going to look different on all the charts because it's relative to the volume on the chart. and historic volume too, and where you place the anchor. So I'm going to do one from the beginning here on the weekly time frame, and you can see what's happened. You can see that we've crossed the anchored VWAP, volume weighted average price. That's what it means, anchored VWAP. And you anchor it at the start point, and it just tells you the average volume as the candles print. And you can see now for the first time, not really, because we crossed it here, but we lost it immediately, and then we back tested it. You see that on the weekly time frame? You see how we broke, we lost, and we back tested for a drop. So, and you can see here the price just couldn't get through this anchored VWAP. Okay, so this is what I would be looking for. If that happens again, that wouldn't be good. So we just have to keep an eye on this to make sure that that doesn't happen. And if it does, then let's see. So that's the anchored VWAP from the beginning of KuCoin. I'll tell you something, every exchange is going to have a different anchored VWAP because it's relative volume. So let's just kind of, just for the sake of consistency, I'm going to do it on all the exchanges and see if the data matches. Again, look, that's perfect. So you see how on MEX the price couldn't get to the VWAP, but here we've crossed it. So that's very consistent with KuCoin. The way we've crossed it, very consistent. That's very nice to see. Let me have a look at Gate. That's not Gate. That's Gate. Sorry, I've got to hide all my information because it's distracting. And let me do exactly the same thing. An anchored VWAP from the beginning. Okay, so you see something very interesting is on Gate, the anchored VWAP is slightly higher. See that? Right now it's at about 15 or so cents. On Gate, that will resist if we come into it. On Gate, just on Gate. Let me just have a look at Bybit as well. Again, I just have to hide this stuff. Again, Bybit is quite high too. Huh? That's interesting. At about 17 cents. Just tells you that a lot more volume has been put higher up on Bybit and Gate. Whereas on KuCoin and on MEX, the volume that's been put in has been lower down. Okay. Right now, the most volume is still on KuCoin, but Bybit is catching up. And you can see that very clearly because look at the anchored VWAP. You see how it's curving, steeply curving down as the price is coming up. All right, that's just interesting. I'll just keep that in mind. I'm not going to do anything with it. So there are on Bybit at about 15 on Gate and about 17 on Bybit. You have some anchored VWAP resistance. You could also potentially do anchored VWAPs from anywhere really. From this pivot here. From this pivot here. In terms of volume, you can clearly see that these two pivots correspond. So if we were to go back down to 4.7 cents, you have really strong support there. I don't want us to go down. It's just it's just interesting. All right, let me just hide that for now. So we know that on two exchanges there's two anchored VWAPs above us, and on two exchanges we're above the anchored VWAP. Let me do this as well. That's from this pivot down to this first low. Yeah, price came into the golden pocket, didn't even touch it, just rejected. Let me see how that looks with all my lines. What's that? Volume is lower. Extension. Yeah, we got pretty strong, pretty strong resistance at about 17.5. That's at the upper side. That's at the top side of this golden pocket from this pivot down to here. Not. It's just mathematical resistance. It's not volume resistance, and that's the. I like volume resistance more. Let me just have a look at this volume profile here. All the way to this candle here. Nope, nothing. The other thing I'm going to do is a volume pull from the all-time low to the day to where we are now. Okay. So this uptrend, the value area high is at about 6.4, but we back tested that. It's amazing because we have put in a lot of volume up here. And I think what I want to see in terms of the way the volume is put in, as the price moves up, I don't know how it's going to move up, but let's just say it goes up. I do want to see this volume, this value area move up with us. That would be nice. And then what else would be nice is if sometime in the future we could move the point of control. Like, we need to put volume for the price to sustain, because right now you can see all the volume is in the low of this move, which is good, it's bullish. But at the same time, if you go up and you reject somewhere, arbitrary lines aren't going to hold the price. It'll be volume that holds the price. It'll be volume levels that hold the price. Okay, where previous historic volume has been put in, that tells you where people were interested in buying and selling those prices. And so let's say, for the sake of argument, now we can put in a shitload of volume at this price at 10 cents. The value area moves up, the point of control moves to 10 cents, and the price continues. And then in the future, if the price comes back to 10 cents, for example, then that would be a really strong level, because then you have a volume level too at that level. But it requires volume to create that. And just looking at the volume profile now, I can clearly see that all the volume, it'd be very, you'd have to put in a lot of volume. Look here, this volume, this was good. Like just recently, that volume spiked there. That's this area here, and then the rest was just put down here. The people were accumulating in the lows. So I think a lot of people are in profit. Maybe they're taking profit as well. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I can't do a GAN on this because I don't have the potentially something like that. Minus 23 weeks. You have to do it from when the token launched at the all-time high. The all-time high would be 1.56 and minus 23. It launched on November the 21st. Is it minus 5? When did this launch? 6 weeks. Let's do minus 6. No, minus 7. It's minus 7. This is on the weekly time frame. Let me have a look on the, the lower time frame. That looks good, huh? That looks really good. That looks very good. You can see how this line resisted until the price got above it. It supported until you made this pivot. It went all the way back up to the 2-1, rejected, again rejected, again rejected, until you finally got above it, and then it held support and resist and break, resist and break. It's what you want to see. So I think that GAN is quite nice to be a guide. And I mean, if we're going to get up to potentially in the next week, this week, we're going to go up. You know, you've got a little bit of confluence in this area, you know, especially with that 4-1 GAN. The GAN has been reacting nicely. There's no reason to think that it's not going to react again. Okay. And we just, I think what you have to understand is that it requires volume to push through, right? Just because there's resistance doesn't mean it's going to hold. If you get enough volume, you just break through it. Yeah. It just means that there's too many buyers and they're just willing to buy at any price, and they're just willing to fill their bags because all they're concerned about is the number of TRVL. They're not concerned about the price. And it's very easy for buyers to fill their bags at resistance. They can get filled on a low liquidity token like this. That's where you get filled as a buyer. If you want to fill your bags as much as possible. In the same way, it was the same idea which I suggested in the past. When you're coming back into support and you want to sell, you just want to fill your sell orders without going lower, then you do it in support. Yeah, if it's just a good place for a low liquid token to empty your bags. Yeah, without the price slipping too much. It's the same idea with with buyers. If buyers want to fill their bags without the price slipping too much, they would have to do it at resistance. That's where they would have to do it, because otherwise it slips, the price you buy and the price moves away from you. Okay, and it's really problematic when the price is coming into support and there isn't enough sell volume to fill bags. If you've got a target for filling a really big bag, it's very difficult to do without market buying. And so yeah, so when you get these opportunities where the price comes into big time support, you know, these are really good opportunities to fill your bags. But also, you know, sellers, this is the thing, when the price goes down, people want to sell. When the price goes up, people want to buy. The mentality should be reversed. As the price goes up, you should be thinking about selling. As the price goes down, you should be thinking about buying. It's always the reverse. So am I thinking about selling? Of course I'm thinking about selling. I'm thinking about higher prices and higher resistance level. Doesn't mean I'm going to sell. If I was to sell, it would just be to buy back on support. I always said that I wouldn't sell underneath 9 cents, and look, guess what, we're above 9 cents now. So now I am actually thinking of trading a little bit, and what's interesting is the volume has increased. Okay, that was really important for me. When you look at coin market cap or CoinGecko on TRVL, you see the 24-hour trading volume is now at $2.7 million. If I look at the volume, you see KuCoin's doing most of the volume, and Bybit is second, Mex is third, and Gate is fourth. They're quite balanced in the distribution, and KuCoin is still has the most volume, the best spread basically. Look, actually no, Bybit's the best spread. Actually look, Gate is the best spread. So Gate it means that Gate has more liquidity. I know why, because on Gate you can actually add your tokens to a liquidity pool on Gate. I don't know if you realize that. Maybe I'll show you in the end of the stream. I'll log on to my Gate account and I'll show you. That's probably why Gate has the best spread. So I think this GAN is nice. I like that there's a little bit of confluence here at this area of my area of interest. And if you put in those higher time fib levels, that's the 50% mark. It corresponds really nicely with the top of this golden pocket with this weekly level. Okay. So you're starting to get a picture of areas of interest where the price on the higher time frame, where the price could find resistance. That would be a higher high on the weekly time frame. So if we were to push up in this next week, you're making a higher high. That's the lower high. This is the lower low. If we do that, we're taking out that high, we're making a higher high. Now, in a perpetual derivatives environment, you'd squeeze. You'd get a short squeeze, and hopefully the price would expand upwards because you get market buyers getting shorts getting stopped out with market buying. We're not going to get that. Yeah. So the only way to push through would be with increasing demand. Otherwise, we're probably looking to react and look for a correction potentially. I can't predict that. It could happen, you know. I'm still thinking, like in my mind, I'm thinking that the big level is the golden pocket, but you just can't ignore it. You just can't ignore confluence of resistance in the way. You just can't ignore it, especially when you're dealing with a higher time frame fib line, which is that it's not even fib, it's just a 50% mark. And so far all of these levels have reacted, whether they've been front run or not, they have reacted. So there's no reason to think it won't react, and the GAN has been reacting too, so there's no reason to think it's not going to react. So I'm just, that's the kind of my thinking right now. But it would be a higher high. And as far as I'm concerned, that is extremely bullish to change to begin to change market structure with a higher high on the weekly time frame. You make a higher high, and guess what? You're coming back down to make a higher low for another attempt. You know, whether you succeed or not, that just depends on the volume, really, and defending support lines. As long as we keep on defending support lines, that's fine. You know, as long as we keep on making higher lows, that's fine. And then obviously we have this interesting trend line here. Now that we have that pivot, that gives us a really nice trend line. And I think a large portion of what's going to happen has to do with Bitcoin as well. So I don't know if Bitcoin pumps and then alts bleed into Bitcoin. You get a correction because alts are bleeding into Bitcoin. And then you push up again. I don't know if that would happen. But this is a really nice trend line. So if you do get a situation where you get a back test at the right time with this trend line corresponding with other lines, then you know that would be a good place to buy if that was to present itself, if this kind of price action was to present itself over the next few months. It is possible that I'm not saying it's not going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. You know, it's also possible that we get so much demand. And let me tell you something that I read on the Telegram. It's really interesting. I'm not going to go to it. I'll show you. Maybe I should just show you. I'll show you. I just have to flip my screen. So someone asked something. Let me start the way down. I think it was Quinn who answered. Quinn is he works for Dtravel. He's a really nice guy. And here, Rutger asked, "Hi, when is the search capability launching?" And Quinn, who works for Dtravel, said, "We're on track for an April launch." I think that's a big deal, yeah, because they're on track for an April launch. And I think that's quite big. I don't know. So I am thinking, let's see. This is, I mean, look, this is looking extremely bullish. Do we back test this level to hit the next level next week? A little pullback for an April launch, which takes us through. That's really what I'm thinking, actually. And maybe this coincides with BTC correcting, because we are looking at an ABC on BTC. Maybe the BTCB goes higher and it pushes us into this area of interest. Then BTC corrects, and then we just have to defend 10 or 9 cents if that was to happen, and we would be correcting too. And I'm going to go into the Elliott Wave as well account too in a second. I just need to pee. So I'll be back in 2 minutes and I'll continue this, and then I'll delete that on the stream in a second. Give me 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm drinking a lot of tea.
Yeah.
was less than 2 minutes. Hope I didn't keep you guys waiting. All right. So let me just hide these levels. What's that brush? We can delete those now. Don't need those. That trend line, I'm going to rename that to the bull market trend line. Maybe that's our bull market trend line. So that's going to be very interesting actually, because I'm going to use that. But let me hide it for now. What fib is that? That was from this pivot down to there. So I want to rename it because I want to. I can be right. That's fine. I can delete that now. Higher time levels, volume levels. What's that? That's an extension from that pivot to that pivot. Right. Hide those, and I'll hide that now. Okay. So when it came to the count, the Elliott Wave count, I did it on the other chart. I'm just going to go back and do it one more time, but I'll be quick this time. So I'm probably thinking that this is our wave one here. A, B, C. And then this was our wave 5 here. Sorry, wave 3 here. A, B, C. And now we're in a wave 5. That could work. For me, that works simply because I can see two things that are really important for me. Firstly, that the 4 can't get underneath the 1. That's really important. And obviously the 2 mustn't come underneath the 0. That's the 0. The 2 can't come underneath the 0. That would invalidate it. So it hasn't happened. And we just want to see impulsive waves on the 1, the 3, and the 5. And we are seeing that. Okay. Now, does this 2 start there or there? Because that's quite impulsive. Does the 1 start there? Does the 0 start there? Or there? Because if that's the 1, maybe that's the 1. You see, this is the thing. It's not. No, I don't think that's correct. That looks more correct. Just some kind of extended, some kind of flat correction. I don't know. It looks correct. Right now it looks correct. Unless anyone can see anything else, but so you had the 3, 5. So we're in a 5 now, and it's good to count the waves. So what I want to do is I want to zoom in a little bit. And so the reason why I think this probably is correct is because of trend base fib. So if I do, where would you start it? From there to there to there. Kind of, this extension takes us, this trend base takes us all the way to the 1 to 2. I don't know. Hold on, let me have a look. Let me just zoom in a little bit. That's quite impulsive too, huh? Suppose 1, 2. Honest, this is the 1. 1, no. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's better. To there. Why? You might ask me why. Well, I'm ending it at the 5, and then I'm just counting basically. So I'm just going, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all I'm doing. I'm counting. And then I'm seeing how the price reacts at the trend-based fib levels to see if I've counted right. Yeah. So I'm just counting and trying to match up what I think could have happened. So I'm just saying that's 1, that's 2, then you have your 5 waves up to 3, ABC, and then you have a MERF 5, and then you go into a correction. That's your correction. And so then when I do a trend-based fib, I'm doing it from the fibs. I'm doing it from the 0 to the end of the 1, which would be the end of the 5 of this one wave, to the 2, which would be the end of the C of the ABC. Now, this is just like, look at this is madness. But basically I'm saying A, B, C. But it's really not. It's multiple. It's like ABC, ABC, ABC. That's what it is. You can kind of see that that's what it is. It's like A, B, C. A, B, C. And then it's like an ABC here. That's kind of what it is. So there's something here called the WXY. That's basically what I'm saying, WXY. But anyway, there's no reason to map it out because it looks like it's a correction, and the point what we're trying to do is find out where the 2 begins. So let me just mark it out, try and get it exact there, and then this is up to there. So I'm saying that 5 ended there, and then where does this 0 begin? Where is the 0? Well, I'll take it from the pivot. Where is the pivot? Probably there. Let's see how these fib it's all right. Look, see that the 2, and it goes all the way up to the 2.618. Reacts, rejects, and you have a back test here. So it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. That took us to the 3. So the 3 extended to 2.618. It's a big extension actually. Then you had an ABC correction. Okay. So I'm gonna just rename this, call it wave 1. Hide that, so I just keep that until wave 1. Okay. Then you had an ABC here, ABC, and if that's where we wow, pretty deep, kind of into the 786, back above the golden pocket, back test the golden pocket. That was really nice, and it was really powerful. All right, so that's not bad. So let me just, so that's our wave 1. Okay, it's fine. Let me just do fib time as well. I just like to just in case I see something interesting. Oh, it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't do it to the 2. I'd do it to the 4, and I wouldn't do it to the 1. I'd do it to the 3, to the 4. Okay, I've got an idea actually. Let me put this on the 4-hour chart. Let's pivot in right to the 3. Okay. Just keep that. I just want to keep that as a reference. So we're in our wave 5, and we're looking at 5 waves in wave 5. And so almost in the same idea, we just use trend-based fib from this low to this high to this low. Okay. You see how the price has now reacted. Look at that. Perfect reaction on the 1-to-1. Perfect reaction. See that? So that gives you that gives me confidence that this is correct, because we're starting to see reactions at the right levels, at the right places. You also look, you also on the 618, you can see how the candles are forming around this fib line. So it's in the first instance, you see it went up and it reacted perfectly. As it got above, it tried to hold, it lost it, held, lost it, and then it just whatever. And you see how we come back into the 786, the price came right back into it. And I mean, we're talking about confluence. These aren't on their own. This isn't, it's not just these. There's other lines, and that's the point. So what does that tell me about the upward trajectory? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Yeah, you see, like there's a you've got a lot of strong resistance up there. That would be a 1.618 extension from the 2 to the 3 to the 4. You extend to the 1.618. You've got a lot of resistance there, but now you can start seeing that there's a little bit of resistance here too at about 15 cents, you know, and that corresponds with the monthly level too. Now, I'm not saying anything, I'm just observing. Let me try it from, where's that wave 1? Try it from the 1. See where that takes me. So from the 1 to the 3 to the 4, do it properly. Make sure it's Basically the same thing. It's just different. It's just different numbers, but it's basically the same levels. By the end of the month. It's in my Feb time. It was like this, was it? No, gonna maybe we'll maybe that's when we're gonna put another pivot, huh? 12th of April. And 12th of April, and then the end of April. 26th of April. That's gonna be Bitcoin halving. We just create a group just for those. Time. We'll keep an eye on that. So what else am I looking at? Well, look, we have our so if we're in a wave 5 now, then you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what happened here was this. Look, I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was your wave 5. Yeah. It didn't go to there. That wasn't. It didn't end there. That was the correction. That was like an extended flat. So you had a A, B, C, and then you're into the next wave. Okay, 1, A, B, C, D, E. I don't know, but we're correcting after the 1. So we're in wave 5. That was your wave 1 of 5. This is your correction of the wave 5. Now we're in the 3, and we've just pushed. This is wave 1 of 3 or 5 of 1. Like, that's how it works. So there's your 1. Where's the 2 gonna end? Who knows? And then one more correction, and then one more. This is the wave 5. So I'm just keeping a real close count of this last wave. This one here to here, how long did that last? It lasted 322 bars on this time frame. That's basically the beginning of April. Beginning of April. See that? It's a 1-to-1. So potentially that's how long this is going to go for, potentially all the way to the end of April. And we still have to put in our, that's your wave 1, that's your correction, that's your wave. We're in the wave 3 now. We've just put in a 1. This is the correction to put in the 3. The 3 is going to be the biggest one, potentially. Now, can we get up to there? Then the 4. How does that correct? Does it just come down to here? Does it go deeper? Could go deeper. For a 5, do you have a crazy 5, or do you just have a potentially a weaker 5? We don't know. We don't know how this is going to play out, but we just have to keep count, right? So you've had your 1. This is the wave 5 of the first big wave. This is the wave 5. And in this 5 wave, we're counting 5 waves. And this is your first 5. This is the first correction. And we're in the next 5. Yeah. That's your 1. This is the correction 2 to the 3. The 3 is the next impulse to the correction. Just like this. But this was very, like, you can kind of see it. It's not very easy because it just happens so fast. This might be a little bit more prolonged. And obviously it's got everything to do with Bitcoin. So if I was to now just do a trend-based fib to there. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of at 7.5. Yeah, I think that's our target for this wave, for this final wave. That's what I'm thinking, and I think it's possibly could happen by the end of the month or the beginning of April before we maybe correct with Bitcoin until we hit somewhere later. All right. So it's something to consider. Rename that. Why did I call that wave 1? Oh. 5. Just keep that as wave 5. And this local for time. Okay. The other thing to bear in mind is that in the previous we haven't actually cleared the liquidity in this little higher range, and so to get through that it's going to require a little bit of volume. So if I was to do a little volume range pull here, you can see we're in that range now, and we're kind of holding that range for a little bit. That's why we're correcting. We're kind of correcting because we're back into a historic volume range. Now, once we clear it, we're back into this volume here, okay? Which is why I think probably we could correct, we could hit volume resistance, correct, and then the question is how much liquidity is taken by people market longing at the highs. That helps to clear the liquidity so that the next time we go up, it can go up much easier, right? So based on everything that I'm saying, Let's see when we hit that GAN. Maybe that GAN will be the best indication, because I think the GAN has reacted in every kind of instance that I'm looking at it. So it would be good to see when we hit that GAN and when and at what price. And I think you want to go as high as possible to clear the liquidity. And right now you can clearly see we're in this is the one. Wait, this looks different. Hold on, let me just have a look at this. 1, 2. So we're in the 3, but we haven't finished it yet. It doesn't look like we finished it yet, because you can't see, I can't see I can see 5 waves here, but I can't see the 3rd wave. I can see that there's a little bit of a correction here. I'm gonna have a 3rd wave. Let's see how far the 3rd wave takes us. For another correction for a wave 5, and then that will complete this whole wave 1, and then we're into an ABC, slightly higher time frame ABC correction. But who knows, because we've got some stuff launching in April, and I think that's going to be very important. Right, so this is kind of where I'm at now with my resistance levels. Okay, there's quite a lot of lines still, yeah, and just even though we've come up really strongly, just don't be fooled that we're just going to go up in a straight line. The moment that we start going up in a straight line, I think, is higher up when there's less volume, you know, so we still have a little bit of volume to clear. Once you get above the golden pocket, if we actually manage in the future to get above the golden pocket here, then, and above that 8-1, that last scan line, so probably not there. Then we'll fly. Basically, that's what I'm suggesting. We'll fly. I don't really necessarily think any of these resistance levels are going to be major resistance. Up to that point, the big resistance is probably going to be at 17.5. And if it coincides with this GAN, then the GAN is probably going to play a role. And then this higher time frame golden pocket. And actually looking at it, probably most of the resistance is going to be to the top part of the golden pocket. And we have to just see how, and that would be really good, because if we can get into the top half, clear all of that liquidity, then it will just make it easier to go through the next time. And in a really bullish scenario, you're actually gonna, if you do go through it, because the volume is just off the charts, then you'd be expecting a really nice back test for continuation. So that will be a very important level to flip from resistance into support. And so that's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting all of these horizontal levels eventually have to be flipped from resistance into support. And then when you do flip them into support, they become your support lines for continuation. Okay, just exactly as we've done with this 236, you just continue that behavior higher up, and obviously when you have more confluence, then it could, you know, it's just going to take a little bit of work potentially, and so, or volume. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm kind of not interested in my position right now, because I mean, this is a crazy bullish V-shaped recovery. That's like off the charts bullish. When you see that, you don't mess about with your with your bag. You just leave it, you know. And you know, looking at the higher time frame, weekly time frame, again, we're looking, it's very similar to Bitcoin actually. We're looking at a really high, nice V-shaped recovery. It's a rounding bottom actually, but it looks V-ish as well. That's the V. That's the rounding bottom. But you know, on the higher time frame, it's looking really bullish. I wonder if we can actually close somewhere here at the end of the month, and then maybe we get one red month. So if this powers through and closes there somewhere, and then maybe we get one red month, and that could come all the way back to this line here, basically a red month, and then go. And that wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad to have a red month and then continuation, because then, you know, you're building market structure for support. Yeah. And if you do get a red month, and if we do go push up and then we do get a red month and it just comes back into like 9 cents or whatever, and it holds support lines, and then you're probably going to get like a really powerful injection of volume, because people like buying red candles, and in a bull market you buy the monthly candles, or the red monthly candles are the ones that you will ape in, basically, because especially if they come back to just to back test support. So let's say right now we're at a really strong support level here, and let's say the month closes up to make a higher low here, and then let's say next month you get a pullback and you just close it just into this support level. I mean, you could have a wick underneath it, it doesn't matter. And then the next month you could go off, you can continue, just continue with that. In a bull market, that would be very normal behavior. It's not, I wouldn't mind a red month. I think if you end up with a green and then another green, a green here, and then another green, the only way that I would be okay with that is if on the monthly time frame I saw an increase in volume. Okay, I'd be okay if the volume kept on increasing. I'd be okay with that. Yeah, the danger is that you start getting greens and the volume starts to drop off because people just haven't taken profit, and because people haven't taken profit, when they do eventually take profit at higher prices, what you end up with is something that looks really bearish, and that's kind of not what I want to see. But if it happens, then we just have to take it as it comes. All right, I don't really have anything more yet to do with TRVL. I think it's looking good. Last 12 hours we had this candle, probably going to range now for a little bit. Let's see how that corresponds to Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin kind of pulled back a bit. You see that it's kind of in the range. I can see some other coins are pulling back. Slurf is pulling back a little bit, so it's normal. We're in a little bit of a mini correction right now on TRVL, and as long as we have a nice flat correction, look, it's already is it ABC? Yeah, ABC. So we are looking for continuation quite soon. We just have to see how far this correction continues. Okay. Any questions on that? Probably not, because no one is chatting. I don't even know if anyone was here. Veg food lover BLR. Gary, more Gary. I'm going to take a 2-minute break, and then I'll have a look at anything that people want me to look at. Make it 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to have a 5. David, it's just you, huh? That's all right. What else? Okay, you want me to have a look at Solana? Just just want to look at something. Look at that 3-month candle on TRVL. It's off the chart bullish, off the chart bullish. Yeah, we have to take out that wick and go higher. That needs to happen. Just do something. This is the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So just want to do one more thing on this. Just like that, time extension. Okay. So unified 1 started there. Okay, good. That candle is the one. Which one was it? That one. So this is where our 1 starts. There. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, we end at 17.5. That would make sense. Come back to the top of that candle. You probably want to go all the way up on a wave 3. Probably. You probably want to go all the way up to $2 on a wave 3. Up to the 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Or to the 1 point. If you go up to 1 point, the 1 point, if that's the correction, resistance there, break, down, 1, 2, 3, maybe go up. Don't know. $2.25. 2.25. Can we get up to 2.25 on a wave 3? That would be nice. Correct to the all-time high for continuation. That would be really crazy, yeah? If that happened. Where is it? maybe not. It depends on that 4. The 4 is going to determine everything, to be honest with you. Whether you have a flat correction or whether you have a deeper correction. That would be deep. If you have a flat correction, the all-time high, then you're going higher. If you have a deep one, it all changes. Depends on how far the 3 gets as well. But if we want higher prices, then the other thing was that trend line. I just want to see that trend line again. Where is it? Where is it? Bull market trend. That's the bull market trend line. All right, so you don't really want to lose it. Let me just try something else. Yeah. That would be perfect. That would be perfect. There. Back to there. That could work. We do a trend-based fib from where we started to there to there. Who knows how far 3 is going to go, but I do think that if you go into the all-time high, you might as well just go higher. I don't think all-time high is going to necessarily hold the price. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to the 2. So you do a 1 to 2, all the way up to $2.3. You come back to the all-time high to back test it. I mean, we're talking about crazy bullish. If this happens, this is crazy bullish. And then push up to $10. 9, 10. It depends on the 4. It depends on the 3 and the 4, how far the 3 and the 4 go. If 4 is deeper, to there, So this is going to be really important. The 4 is going to be really important to see how the 4, how deep or how shallow the 4 gets. What's interesting about this bull market trend line now is that if we just keep on bouncing off this bull market trend line, by February next year, the trend line is going to be at about 94 cents. See that? So could you push up? If it comes back down to the trend line, to the, just keep on bouncing off this trend line. Bounce, bounce, and bounce, just keep on bouncing. Maybe also we could get a steeper one if you almost don't want to lose that trend line now. I don't think it's like the reaction of it has been really nice. So, and I think it's all about Bitcoin as well. So let's see if Bitcoin tops out there, you could actually this free. We'll have to see how this free ends. It's all speculation. Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on it. That's TRVL. Solana.